Welcome. My name is Raul Vargas, and I'm going to run you through my rough draft of my smartboard lesson on built-in functions and expressions. I can't really do this presentation as I would in class because it is interactive, but what I am going to do is I'm going to just go through the slides and I'll explain what the students would be doing in class if I were teaching this. So this is my title screen, and I have a picture of a mummy and a pharaoh, so hopefully students will see this and they'll start wondering what we're doing. It'll get their interest. And when I turn to the next slide, now we have a question. How can we make a mummy turn to face a pharaoh and walk towards him? So I'll present this question to my students, and I will have the students suggest some ways that we can do this. On the next slide, I have a space here where the students can write pseudocode. Basically, that's just, an algorithm on how they would make the mummy turn to face the pharaoh. And what I anticipate is that they are going to try the method that we have used in the past to do programs like this. And it ultimately boils down to trial and error, because you don't know what that exact distance is between the mummy and the pharaoh. So you'll try one distance. If it's too much, they'll say do something a little less. If that's not enough, do something a little greater. And so that's, we'll spend some time coming up with this algorithm. And then I pose another question. What if the mummy or pharaoh move before your code is executed? So through trial and error, they'll figure out the exact distance that the mummy needs to move. But what if the program was interactive and one of the characters moved, or the user moved one of the characters? Now all of a sudden the program is going to be broken. So I'm going to pose this question to the students, and hopefully they'll come to that conclusion that if the mummy or the pharaoh moves, our program is ruined. So we need some other solution. And then I ask them, how can we solve it? So hopefully they'll come up with some ideas, and I'll try to lead them, prod them along the way, and hopefully they'll come to the conclusion that we need something that will allow us to measure the distance between the mummy and the pharaoh at a exact moment. So at any specific moment, if we need to know the distance, we can just calculate it, get that information from the world. So once they come to that conclusion, I will let them know that that thing that will solve this issue for them is actually called a function. And we'll talk about the definition of a function. And right here I have a screenshot of some of the built-in functions in Alice. At this point I'll probably talk about the categories of functions. So there's 5 different categories. You see a few of them listed here: proximity, size, spatial relation. We'll talk about the different the different categories, and my homework assignment is going to be related to those categories. Basically, how can they use a function in each category in a program. So after we look at the categories for a bit, at this point I will minimize my smartboard program, or my smartboard lesson, and I will open up Alice on the projector, and I will actually implement that mummy versus pharaoh program so that they can see how to actually use the function now that they understand what it is. And then I will our next steps after that is for them to actually do a couple exercises. So right here on this slide, next steps, this is a handout that I'm gonna give them. The first one is mummy. That's what we actually just went over. So they will, after they see me demonstrate it on the computer, on the projector, they'll go get their computers, open up their computers, and implement it. And then after that, they will do these 3 exercises: Knight in Shining Armor, Penguin Tree Party, and Guerrilla Robot Attacks. And these all build on the stuff we covered in Mummy. So the rest of the period will be spent with them working on these. If students, I'll identify the students that are grasping it, at a higher at a higher rate, and I'll have them become the so-called experts and help the other students. And so yeah, the rest of the class will be used to put this information into action.